Hello, 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 everyone. Mike Arnold here, co-founder, Path Trading Partners, along with Bob IG. How is everyone doing? Kicking off a shortened trading week. Stocks open in about 25 minutes. So we already had Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley earnings out. Good morning, Dave. Good afternoon, Charles. Good morning, Patrick. Good morning, Martinez. Good morning, Donald. Good morning, Anissa. Good morning, George. Good morning, Sashi. Good morning, everybody else hiding in the background. Good morning, Jacob. So thank you for being here. By the way, if you are new or newer here, please do consider subscribing, ringing that bell, and hitting the like the mic button. All right, got all that out of the way. Where do we sit? Where do we sit on the shortened trading week? We have Empire State Manufacturing Index printing ugly. Wow, was not expecting that big a drop. Last was a minus 11.2. This was minus 32. So during the pandemic, I think we had a print like around minus 50, but this is just an ugly, ugly number. Oh boy. The only other thing we have besides some bill auctions, remember if you have some short-term money you're not wanting to put in this market yet, 3 and 6 month bills are paying pretty decent. Pretty decent. Fed Williams speaking at 2 p.m. So it's a quiet news day. Market map, besides Tesla, gapping up this morning. Pretty mixed market map today. So that's where we sit. Where we have Toyota Motor Company also up 3.34%. So that's where we sit there. Groups, again, pretty mixed. Only thing standing out is basic materials getting some profit taking after a short run there. And still money going into consumer cyclical this morning. Fed watch still 91.2% for that 25 basis point, coming in just over 2 weeks, 2 weeks in one day. Fear and greed still solidly in greed mode. Gamma, we're right at neutral gamma. Very little options gamma besides this 4,000 print. That is the major gamma play, both the upside and to the downside. So that gets interesting. Why we start trading and accelerating back below 4K. You pick up negative gamma, which not just because it's negative gamma, it can accelerate it either way, but it starts getting deeper into negative gamma, and we break that sort of gamma level at 4,000. You rally up, you're on positive gamma, which dampens the effect. So the area that the more risk area is to the downside at this point. As I said, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, the two I was paying attention to. Morgan Stanley was a beat. Goldman Sachs was a solid miss, and Goldman Sachs gapping down today. After the close, United Airlines is the biggie. That is the biggie. So where do we sit right now? Where do we sit? Let's see who else has come in. Good morning, Royal Palms. Fed is closer to their rate targets. Where's the recession fear? The people are saying guaranteed recession, but they're not pricing it in. So there's no fear of that recession. And yeah, they will be slowing their rate increases, but they could easily get it over 5%. People, I think, are underestimating that. Sterling, good morning. Charles, hey, now it's at 4,012. Grand Rising, Christoph. Well, yesterday being the holiday was very low volume. Holiday in the U.S. Let's see where else. We can look at some of those BABA and Meta after the close today. Crude again. I'm watching for a more substantial buy pattern kicking in, especially with the China now more aggressively reopening. After we should get a pullback at some point, but we could be triggering that double sooner rather than later. Yeah, Sterling's putting up the loss provisions. I did notice that the loss provisions are getting really pumped up. So, J.P. Morgan set aside 1.4 billion, Wells Fargo 957 million, Bank of America set aside 1.1 billion, Citi set aside 640 million to prepare for sword loans, or should that be soured loans? Good morning, CD. Yep, the DAX and the DJI. We'll take a look at those. We could still get a pullback again. Even if it does trigger to double, it's not an aggressive rush in on crude because it's overextended. So we could at least get a sideways pause, giving multiple opportunities to get in. S&P, nothing's really changed since yesterday. Keeping an eye, it's still closing into, you see all these closes in the 4-hour rotation zone. So if we start closing below about 39.96, that's my first warning sign that we could be getting a bigger pullback. But pullback levels 39.92, then 39.70. Even a pullback to 39.70 doesn't get a lot of technical damage below there. See, this is where this is hard to trade. You got a clear path move then finally down here, but you know what? It's just pullbacks. They'll only be short-term little setups. Rotation back up if this does hold, going back up. 4,028, the high from Sunday, the overnight session. 4,036, 4,045. Key level on the close is 4,033.25. So that's where we stand. Trading still well above the 200. So even on a pullback, a very key support level is this 39.84. Do not ignore. On a dip below 39.70 would just reconnect with the rotation zone. So this is where I can't get overexcited on the short side until we either get a strong topping pattern or we do some pullback technical damage, and then we assess the secondary bounce. Even on a pullback, I'll be watching to see where it closes relative to the 200. Now, it doesn't have the same juice on it as before, but we close below the 200. We'll make some people notice. So, NASDAQ. Pretty much the same story here. Minor, I'll be watching this 11,500 for a close back below there. But the support, 11,480, 11,360. So, lots of key support levels even on a rollover play to trade back into. And on a key closing basis, 11,400. You got the slightly rotating up 50, coming in with the daily rotation zone right at 11,400. We start getting more technical damage if we get a close below 11,350, but not substantially before there. The key level on a major closing basis is 11,743. Your minor levels, should we break the highs from Sunday, are 11,670, 11,701. Real quick, the Dow, which did close above the 62.5. So, this is a long way out from doing technical damage. Still, even after a pullback, next targets 34,593, then 34,910. Minor pullback area is on a closing basis 34,260. You still see we got support 34,200. 34,130, 34,2020, 34,30. So that's trading back into key support levels unless we get a lot of momentum coming in. On a closing basis, 34, 35, 34, 40. Technical damage really doesn't get done until below 33.6 again. Russell holding up still very, very nicely. The double is still technically in play, but on a rally at the open, we'll probably take it off the table, and it has not even confirmed yet. So I will be still watching that unless we rally up. You know, you get back above 1900 or 1900, it's going to take that double off the table. So just keep that in mind. And that would only be a minor pullback pattern against the rotation zone. So really, I mean, I almost should pull it now because 1881 is going to be the primary target from that. But taking out the highs from Sunday, 1907, 1911. Same thing with this. There is more of a substantial clear path. So if we do get selling pressure, I'm going to be paying close attention to the Russell. But your major support coming in about 1856. And the area that starts getting interesting is if we get a close back below 1832. Let's peek in at the spiders and the Qs. The spider still could be a slight gap down. We closed above the 62.5. Major support would be Friday's lows from about 393.34 to about 392.63 with the rising daily rotation zone. This is pretty much a flat open. Looks like we do have a potential minor little double. Little sloppy with this spike down. But that could only be even a potential pullback to even just 388. You do have some gaps in here too. The first major area I'd be focusing on is against the 4-hour rotation zone and against the daily rotation zone, 390.82. And you have a gap fill to 390.63. Is that right? 390.63, 390.82. Yep. So those would be on any breakdown below 390, 337 on a closing basis. Those would be the major target area I'd be focused on. Other than that, besides the minor gap fill play, if it rallies, you know, the next major target isn't until would not ignore 400 because you got the round numbers syndrome. You still have a gap closed at 399.39. So my first target, 399.39, 400, and then 401.56. For the Qs, after completing the double and hitting that 200 last week, so that's done, getting a slight pause. Slight gap down, so the first thing would be a gap fill play to the upside on any rally to 280.95. To the downside, key support now really is about 276.20. No, this is two separated for the double, but if we did break below there, see there's another stopping point here, and then you got another key, 274.64, and then you got about 273.60 area with the 50 in the rising rotation zone. So don't have long-term rollover plays just yet. And here you see this on the daily. You see it on the daily. Yeah, there's a little gap left behind down there, but we'd have to do a lot of damage before we get to there. So the major area is 274.65 area on the daily. Next key to the upside, 282.95. This is, again, pretty key resistance it's trading against right now. The DAX, again, up into this key breakdown area, pausing up here, very overextended, even divergences on the weekly. So it's just in trail mode on the DAX, watching for a rollover pullback, cycles pinned to the top, and RSI very overbought, overextended from the rotation zone. So we'll be starting to watch if we get back below 15,100. The notes, again, there's not a great play set up just yet, so sitting on the hands with notes because key support's coming in at 113.27, key resistance about 115.14. Between that is no man's land. Dollar index still watching for a bottoming pattern. Still watching, but rolling over so far. Could this, if it turns up pretty quickly, it could be an inverse, little minor inverse head and shoulders. If it keeps pressing down, it could be a setup for a double. But if we break 101.36, then my mind, remember, we're in an area where we can be putting in a more substantial bottom, but my next minor targets will be 101.25 and 101.14. What do I mean by area of more substantial? We're right here trading against the 50 and against key support. So that's a very critical area. Crude, we hit the 87.5. Now marching on to potentially trigger that double. That would be a close above 81.50. Overbought, cycles at the top. That's why I don't need to chase this higher. It's still in trailing mode from earlier patterns. Other than that, we'll be patient here. Gonna keep watching for that 81.50. This is an instance though, if you were still long from earlier patterns, it closes above there. Just manage it appropriately because it could continue to go substantially higher, but don't crowd the stops too much because you could get a pullback before it resumes its higher march. Support coming in. Where is support at this point? Your first minor support is coming in about 80. Major support is closer to about 79. So those are the two key support levels I am utilizing. Natty gas still trying to put in a short-term bottoming formation. Gold is still in trail mode, just as is in copper. Still getting the dips bought up with copper. A little pullback and getting the dip bought up overnight. I'm watching for a more little substantial topping pattern though to form, but nothing yet. We got the Bank of Japan meeting tomorrow. And look at this. Look at this. Close to 60 basis points now. So this is going to get very interesting. But the yen just so far pausing going into that meeting. On a pop-up move, 130.65 is a key area I am utilizing. Euro, we had the potential double, which never confirmed or triggered. Now a triple. So, triple. Again, only so slightly favors a continuation pattern. But the next major area I'm watching is this 50% harmonic at 109.42. So there could be a short little term breakout play to that. That would be the key target area, though. It's a tight little play there. Nothing going on the pound besides watching for this to potentially make a larger term double. Bitcoin still basing right back at the November highs. So break above there, 22.4. Tesla gapping up. Let's see if this 125 level, it's on any pullback 124.50 area. But next, if it does continue to rally through today, only short-term target 130.13. Above there, it is into a clear path move on the daily. Even a clear path move on the 4-hour. There are some gaps left behind. The major target area, though, for those Tesla bulls would be, I'd be watching this key 140 to 141 area in the short term. Should it be able to get above the daily rotation zone? All right. Sashi says, market going to grind higher. Elliott wave, fifth wave before a pullback this Thursday. So targeting a pullback this Thursday. We should be starting to make more substantial topping patterns. Again, watch for the pullback and then the secondary reaction. This area is safe for setting up a short. Even markets go up, they won't go up much higher. Personally, I need a, oh good, Roblox gapping up 15%. See, the crazy has not left the building. You want to seek the exact high? Good luck with that, George. You want to sell the exact high. Well, but you better make it exact. I wouldn't want to miss it by a tick. There, I did the Tesla. I don't think they want to fill the SPR back up. You know, based off this administration, I don't think they want to fill it back up. Hey, we don't need oil anymore. We'll just cruise around in those plug-in electric aircraft carrier and battleships. That should do it. Wonder how long those take to charge. NVIDIA, that will be a nice potential short again. NVIDIA still just running higher. Here's your looking at that 50. I'm watching for a more substantial, for a retest of this topping area. We do have some gaps left behind still, so it could get interesting still to the upside. Till we get rid of the rah-rah juice. The rah-rah juice. Yeah, it's more just a political show right now. They're going to, both sides are going to make a big deal about it. It's not going to go. The U.S. is not going to default. They'll eventually do something. It'll become more political theater. Hey, Happy Jack. Stop the fighting. I need to recharge the flak cannon. Yeah. Where's the plug? We're in the middle of the ocean. Where's the plug? We got to plug ourselves in. We got rid of oil. It's all insane. We live in insane times. But with that, I'm going to be waiting for some at least things to set up on the longer term basis before getting more aggressive. So I just got to make sure I don't do anything stupid in the short term. With that, I'll be back after the close, Baba. Baba. Come on. Baba hit the 87.5 finally, but there's some pretty major resistance over here, so it would be a trailing mode only for me. Overbought on the weekly, overbought on the daily. Yeah, it could make another push higher. You don't have technical damage done until really below 107.50. But unless it was a day trade, would not personally be trading it aggressively to the long side for more than a day trade. Charles has not placed a single trade and does not look very tempting. If you don't have a setup, sit on your hands. Sit on the old hands. Check her out on the monthly. I'd be much more interested if it got back above 135 and then pulled back for a bigger monthly play. This is just trying to put in a little move higher still. You're going into a lot of major resistance. By the way, just for your info, Goldman Sachs most shorted index, I forget how many days, but it was up essentially last week. Over 15%. That should tell you something about the rally we're in. Also, when most short is up 15% in just about a week, there you go. Roblox. Oh, geez. What's the... Oh, I don't even want to know. Well, this will be setting up for another decent rollover play at some point. So, looks like it's going to potentially fill this gap left behind from 8th of November. All right. $135 is your target. Well, there you go, Christoph. Good morning, John. Hey, business person, I got to go into the open. Can you come back after the close and we'll take a look at COF and SIVB? With that, I hope everyone has a fantastic trading day. Let's just peek at the tick since I'm still here. Just want to see where that opened up. Give me the little ticky. All right, nothing substantial. Slight higher opening, but not above key levels. So pretty moderate openings. So, and we got a little buying pressure into the open. Fantastic. All right. I got to jump now. I'll be back after the close. So see everybody then. Bye for now.